Chapter 1258 might be a bit of a blow to you. After the dry old man was stunned, he could not help but shout angrily, "You bastard! Since you've learned the talisman technique, why are you still saying that you haven't learned it? Are you trying to play with me?" Yun Chujio spread her hands innocently. "I really haven't learned it. I was just looking at this thing for fun and drew it a few times. Who knew that this thing was so simple? I succeeded in drawing it today. If I had known earlier, I would have drawn more. It's so convenient to attack people with this thing. It's just that talisman seals are banned in many places. It's a pity." The dry old man stared at Yun Chujio, wanting to see if what she said was true. Yun Chujio had a magnanimous expression. "Master, I know that my heaven-defying talent may be a little discouraging to you, but there's nothing I can do. Who asked me to be such a genius and such a pervert?" "Humph. I don't believe it. You must be lying. I'll teach you how to draw the explosive talisman now. If you can still draw it, then even if what you said is true." "What do you mean by that?" "Every word I said is true. It's the truth," Yun Chujio said rather smugly. The dry old man demonstrated the drawing method of the explosive talisman. Then, he handed the talisman brush to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio drew a piece of the explosive talisman according to the old man's drawing. With a whoosh, the talisman paper burned up. It was obvious that she had failed. Yun Chujio laughed dryly. "It's inevitable for geniuses to fail. I was just practicing the first time. I will definitely succeed the second time." The old man did not mock her. He could see that it was really Yun Chujio's first time drawing the explosive talisman. Because the technique was very unfamiliar, it was obvious that she was drawing according to her own pattern. Could it be that she was not lying? Did she really not learn talisman before? At this time, Yun Chujio had already started drawing the second time. It was obvious that she was much more proficient than the first time. Moreover, she did not look at the old man's talisman at all. She had actually memorized the complicated talisman pattern. The old man was so shocked that his eyes were wide open. Previously, he knew that Yun Chujio had a photographic memory. However, the talisman was so tortuous and did not have any curves of memory points. How could she still have a photographic memory? It could only be described as a monster. Just as the old man was distracted, he heard Yun Chujio clapping her hands and saying, "Master, I've completed it. What do you think?" The old man looked at the explosive talisman on the table and was so excited that he was trembling. Even his eyes were red. "Oh God, I've been living on my last breath for so many years. Could it be that it was to take in this genius disciple? Oh. Perhaps with this little girl, what I thought was impossible can really be achieved." Yun Chujio saw that the old man did not speak and thought that there was something wrong with her drawing. After looking carefully, there was no difference between her drawing and the old man's drawing. "All right, let's draw another one." Therefore, this guy picked up the talisman pen and drew another one. The spiritual power used in this one was even more uniform. After drawing it, she found that the finished explosive talisman was shining with a faint golden light. He couldn't help but giggle. "Master, look, why did the talisman I drew mutate? It's actually shining. It looks very cool." The dry old man was immersed in his own thoughts and was interrupted by Yun Chujio's shout. He couldn't help but feel a little angry. "What nonsense are you talking about? What's shining?" The old man picked up the talisman on the table. His hands were trembling slightly and he was so excited that he could not say a word. Yun Chujio frowned. Could it be that the old man's old illness had not been cured and left behind sequelae? Why was he trembling all of a sudden? Chapter 1259, Absolute Genius, Transcendent Grade. Transcendent Grade. This is a transcendent grade talisman seal. You drew a transcendent grade talisman seal on your third try. My precious disciple. You really are my precious disciple. If it wasn't for the fact that Yun Chujio was a girl. The dried-up old man would probably hug Yun Chujio and kiss her to express his excitement. Yun Chujio shuddered at the words of the dried-up old man's precious disciple. Master, transcendent grade it is. Why are you so excited? Isn't it normal for a genius like me to draw a transcendent grade talisman? The corner of the old man's mouth twitched and he decided to restrain his excitement. This brat was already so cocky even if he didn't praise her. If he praised her a few more times, she would be able to fly to the sky. Yes, I was indeed a little excited just now. Actually, it's nothing much. It's just a transcendent grade talisman. I'll teach you some talismans that can be drawn at the spirit sect level. The old man tried his best to appear calm. Yun Chujio said leisurely from the side, Master, your talisman brush is upside down. Only then did the dry old man realize that his hand was dipped in the demon beast blood. He forced himself to remain calm and said, HMPH. I want to test the purity of these demon beast blood. Yun Chujio curled her lips and did not point it out. She continued to learn talisman drawing from the dry old man. The dry old man felt that it was not a good thing to have such a heaven-defying disciple. This was because he could not show off his master's prowess at all. He knew how to draw talismans as soon as he taught them. Ah, where should he put his old face? Back then, he was also known as a genius, but he was not that perverted. Not only did she know how to draw talismans as soon as she learned them, she could draw a transcendent grade talisman twice. Was she still human? She was a monster. In just one afternoon, the dry old man realized that he had nothing left to teach about talismans. The remaining talismans could only be drawn by those above the level of a spirit saint. Master, didn't you say that this talisman seal was extremely difficult? I feel that it isn't as difficult as drawing your portrait. If I had known this would happen, I would have learned how to draw talismans a long time ago. Sigh, how many spirit stones did I lose? Yun Chujio felt that her thunder sect could only sell medicinal pills. In the future, she could sell talismans. Yes, the next time she rested, she would ask Anfeng to send her talismans to the thunder sect to be sold. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, the dry old man opened his mouth, he gritted his teeth. Humph. What's the big deal? Talismans are no different from painting. If you know how to draw, it's easy for you to learn talismans. Go back and strengthen your foundation. I'll teach you how to refine refined iron puppets in a few days. Yun Chujio curled her lips and said, Master, according to what you said, those who know how to draw can become talisman masters, right? Don't argue with me. I still have things to do. Get lost, get lost. The dry old man said with a stern look. Yun Chujio pursed her lips and left. When the dry old man couldn't see Yun Chujio, he laughed so hard that tears came out. A genius. She was definitely a genius. They never thought that he would pick up such a precious disciple. Although her spiritual power was still very weak, she would definitely be a heaven-defying existence in the future. Yun Chujio returned to her courtyard and sent a voice transmission talisman to Anfeng. Little lunatic, help me prepare 10 sacks of talisman paper and dozens of talisman pens. Anfeng, who had received the voice transmission talisman, was dumbfounded. Why did Miss Chio always insist on getting the things she wanted? In the past, it was still reasonable to ask for those things, but what did she mean by asking for 10 sacks of talisman paper this time? Could it be that she had started learning talisman? Was she planning to practice? If she was planning to practice, it was understandable. After all, learning talisman was not that easy, and it did require a lot of talisman paper. But what the hell were dozens of talisman's pens? Could it be that if you practiced drawing talismans, you could waste dozens of talisman's pens? Were you eating pens? Chapter 1260, What I saw was a fake talisman. Anfeng grumbled, but when Yun Chujio was resting, he still sent someone to deliver the talisman paper and brush that Yun Chujio needed to Yun Chujio. Then, an phone received Yun Chujio's voice transmission talisman again. Little lunatic, get me a few more sacks, no, dozens of sacks of talisman paper. Next time, I'll go to Changfengyin to get them. Remember to send a secret guard to protect me. The Yin family is itching to kill me right now. An Feng was dumbfounded. Why did Miss Jiao still need talisman papers? Didn't she already send 10 sacks to her? And dozens of sacks. What was she trying to do? Although An Feng was puzzled, he quickly went to search for a few grocery stores and finally gathered dozens of sacks of talisman papers. After half a month, Yun Chujio hopped to the Long Wind Inn. Little lunatic. Arrange for someone to help me send these talisman papers to the Thunder sect. An Feng looked at the sacks of things on the ground and was stunned. Miss Jiao, these are talisman papers. Are you kidding me? Yun Chujio curled her lips. Why would I tease you? If you don't believe me, take a look for yourself. An Feng opened a gunny sack with doubt. It was filled with burst talismans, and they were all high grade. He opened another gunny sack and saw that it was filled with talismans shining with golden light. He was so scared that he sat on the ground. Super grade burst talismans. Yeah, I'm afraid that super grade talismans aren't easy to sell. Besides, it said that rare goods can be bought, so I purposely drew a bad one. That's why I only made a gunny sack of super grade talismans. The rest are all high grade talismans. Although they're a little bad, I can still make do with them. An Feng felt as if his worldview had been refreshed once again. Since when did high-grade talismans become bad? Since when could supreme-grade talismans be stored in sacks? Oh my God, were all the talismans he saw fake? Little madman, don't just stand there. Hurry up and give me those sacks of talismans. I've decided to use my free time to draw supreme-grade exploding talismans. Fuck, whoever dares to provoke me, I'll directly blow them to pieces. Yun Chujio said with a smile. An Feng, on the other hand, shivered. The last time when Yun Chujio and Yin Xinlian were on the life and death arena, Di Baiming had brought him and An Yin along. He had once activated the concealment talisman to watch from afar. Of course, Yun Chujio did not know about all of this. Di Baiming's actions could be said to be taking a huge risk. Once the higher-ups of Tianyuan Academy discovered it, it would affect the reputation of the Hall of Immortals. However, how could Di Baiming be at ease with Yun Chujio? Therefore, he still brought An Feng and An Yin to observe from afar. Fortunately, the attention of everyone in Tianyuan Academy was on the life and death arena, so they were really not discovered. Di Baiming wanted to make a move a few times, but when he saw that Yun Chujio's chest was full, he held it in. An Feng felt a chill run down his spine as he watched. Damn, ninth miss was too intrepid. But now, An Feng realized that he had still underestimated Yun Chujio's intrepid character. Although the level of the sudden rupture talisman was much higher than the explosive talisman, these dozens of sacks of super-grade explosive talismans could not be withstood even by a supreme being. If anyone provoked Miss Jiao, it would be courting death and self-torture. Wait a minute, he seemed to have forgotten a very crucial question. Miss Jiao, you said that these talismans were all drawn by you. Yes. It's very simple. It's much simpler than drawing. There's no need to consider the composition, color matching, and just drawing step by step. This thing is actually sold at such a high price. It's really profiteering. If I had known that this thing was so simple, I wouldn't have sold the pills. The cost of the pills is much higher than this. Chapter 1261, Man and Man cannot be compared. And Feng did not even have the strength to complain. Simple. Do you know how many people have studied for decades but still could not draw a successful explosive talisman? Not to mention a super-grade one. And Feng deeply felt that man and man could not be compared. After beating and Feng, Yun Chujiu hopped back to Tianyuan Academy. At the same time, Yin Haoyu also received a voice transmission talisman from his subordinate. Fourth Elder, Yun Chujiu has been secretly protected by the secret guards of the Temple of Immortals along the way. We didn't have the chance to attack her. Yin Haoyu gnashed his teeth in hatred. This wretched girl was really cunning. Moreover, he didn't expect the Temple of Immortals to attach so much importance to this wretched girl. They actually sent a secret guard to escort her. It seemed that he could only think of a way to kill her in Tianyuan Academy. However, this matter had to be carefully planned. He had to strive for a hit and run. On this day, the dry old man finally agreed to teach Yun Chujiu how to refine the refined iron puppet. When Yun Chujiu heard the dry old man's steps, her mouth twitched. Master, you actually still want to use a furnace to refine it? Isn't this almost the same as refining a weapon? You can't use wood to carve it, right? You lazy thing. Can wood be harder than refined iron? Besides, can you use a spirit weapon if you don't refine it? A puppet can. As long as you put spirit stones on it, it can attack the enemy. But, Master, why do I feel that this puppet of yours doesn't even know its master? It can only attack people in a fixed area. The dry old man roared, so what if it attacks people in a fixed area? Do you want to learn or not? If you don't, then get lost. Master, why are you so stingy? Can't I tell you what I think? Show me, and they'll learn. Yun Chujiu saw that she had angered the old man, so she quickly smoothed her hair. Only then did the old man angrily start to refine the refined iron puppet. Yun Chujiu yawned as she watched. It was really troublesome to make the refined iron puppet. First, the refined iron had to be melted into molten iron, then, it was poured into the pre-made mold. After the liquid refined iron cooled down, it had to be hammered continuously. Finally, the corresponding runes had to be drawn on the various parts of the puppet. All the runes were finally gathered in the abdomen of the puppet through the connecting runes. It could place several spirit stones inside, which was also the spiritual power of the puppet. Master, this thing is similar to the formation disc. Why don't you just design something like a formation disc and put it in the abdomen of the puppet? That would be so simple. The old man was stunned. That's right, there were formation leaves on the formation disc. Weren't the various parts of the puppet similar to the formation leaves? The old man was stunned for a long time, then he excitedly danced. That's right. What the little girl said made sense. If he could develop it, it would be a great innovation in the puppet technique. If it was successful, the production time of the puppet technique would be greatly shortened. The more the old man thought about it, the more excited he became. He said to Yun Chujiu, what you said makes sense. You go back first. I'll be in closed-door cultivation for 2 months. I'll definitely be able to develop it. Yun Chujiu touched her nose. It turned out that her nonsense had hit the nail on the head. However, using fine iron to make a puppet was too strenuous. It would be great if it could be casually carved with wood. Although the dry old man said that the wood was not strong enough, she could add protective runes. Forget it, it was better to wait for the dry old man to develop it. It was better for her to draw more explosive runes. That old thing Yin Haoyu had not been making any movements recently. He might not be planning some big move. It was better for her to make some preparations. Chapter 1262, Lazy Yun Chujiu. Another month passed. On this day, all the freshmen received a mission, to weed the herb garden. Yun Chujiu pursed her lips. This was a blatant exploitation of their free labor. There were many rare herbs planted in the herb garden of Tianyuan Academy. Therefore, before these students entered, they were sternly warned that if the spirit herbs were damaged, not only would they have to be compensated according to the price, but they would also have to be punished by the Academy's rules. After entering, the others diligently pulled the weeds. Yun Chujio, this fellow, was the most lazy. She squatted there for half a day and did not even pull out a few weeds. It was purely because she did not put in any effort. Moreover, the Guai Chao in her dantian kept clamoring to eat the spirit herbs. Yun Chujio angrily scolded, "Go Weiba, stop it. Just because of you, I might not even be able to give birth to a monkey for a gigolo. You still want to eat? Eat your head." Guai Chao immediately became dispirited after being scolded by Yun Chujio. It felt so wrong that it did not want to torture it anymore. "That student who is squatting there, yes, it's you. Come over here." A teacher stretched his neck and shouted at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio could not help but curse in her heart. Seriously, she was discovered just when she was slacking off. Why was she staring at her for no reason? Yun Chujio slowly walked to the front of the teacher pointed to a place and said, "You are in charge of removing the weeds next to the spirit herb. You must be careful. That is a low-grade heaven-tier gold thread jade bamboo. If it is damaged, you can wait to be fired." Yun Chujio inexplicably smelled the scent of a conspiracy. Why did he only ask her to remove the weeds there? It must be a trap. She heard that the person in charge of this medicinal garden was also the lackey of that old guy, Yin Haoyu. Humph, she would not fall for it. "Io. Io. My stomach hurts. Teacher, I suddenly have an unbearable pain in my stomach. Where's the toilet? I want to go to the toilet." Yun Chujio clutched her stomach and cried out in pain. The teacher frowned. "The toilet is in the west, far from here. What a coincidence. I just asked you to do some work, and your stomach hurts. You're not faking it, right?" "Oh, no, I'm going to die of pain." Yun Chujio was afraid that the teacher would ask again, so she jogged all the way to the west. The teacher sneered. As expected by Deputy Dean Yin, this girl was indeed cunning. However, what you didn't know was that this was a series of traps. You didn't fall into the trap of weeding. There were other traps waiting for you. Damn girl, this time you will definitely die. Yun Chujio ran all the way to the west and saw the toilet from afar. Of course, she wouldn't really go in. She rolled her eyes and decided to rest in the vicinity for a while. She would wait until everyone was almost done with their work before going out. Just as Yun Chujio was thinking about it, her scalp suddenly went numb and she was shocked. There was danger. Yun Chujio activated the jade token that the old man had given her. She did not want to use it the last time she competed with Yin Xinlian. She was prepared to use it when she was in a life-or-death situation. Yun Chujio had just activated the jade token when she felt a spiritual energy fluctuation behind her. She quickly leaped forward. Even so, she did not manage to dodge all of it. Fortunately, the jade token blocked the attack with a flash of light. Yun Chujio immediately understood that this was a series of tricks. Since she had been lured here, it was likely that there was more than one person lying in ambush. Sure enough, 3 masked men in black launched another attack at Yun Chujio. Although Yun Chujio could not see through the cultivation levels of the 3 people, it seemed that they were at least at the level of a spiritual venerable. They were probably sent by the Yin family. Chapter 1263 was useless. Yun Chujio tried to use her identity jade token to inform Feng Ming, but to her surprise, she found that she could not send the message. She also tried to use a voice transmission talisman to inform An Feng but failed. Stupid girl, you don't have to waste your efforts. Since we have arranged this trap, it is naturally foolproof. Don't even think about sending the message. Moreover, there are very few people here. No one will come to save you. Prepare to die. One of the masked men said with a sneer. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. Damn it, you want to kill me? Dream on. I'll blow you all up. Yun Chuzhou took out a few super-grade explosive talismans and was ready to activate them. However, she sadly realized that she couldn't activate them at all. That's right, even the sound transmission talismans weren't effective, which meant that there must be some kind of formation here. Naturally, talismans couldn't be used. Seeing this, the three of them laughed out loud. Stinky girl, we know that you have the sudden explosive talismans, but it's useless here. Even the gods can't save you today. Die. Yun Chuzhou could not care less about exposing her secret anymore. Her life was more important. Therefore, she summoned 8 flying swords to protect herself. Furthermore, the small purple needles were fired at the three of them frequently. The 3 masked men were shocked. This stupid girl was really strange. She could actually command 8 flying swords at the same time. However, no matter how strange it was, she would die here today. Yun Chuzhou secretly cried out in her heart. Although there were still Xiao Hanyo and the others, the difference in their spiritual power was too great. Even if they came out, it would be useless. They might even get injured. What should she do? Yun Chuzhou tried to use the Jade Token and the defensive spiritual tool to protect her body. Then, she forcefully broke through the encirclement of the 3 people and quickly ran to the east. However, she was blocked by an invisible barrier. Stinky girl, you want to run? This place is like an iron wall. It's a cage specially designed for you. You want to run? Dream on. The 3 men in black said arrogantly, although this little girl had so many defensive spirit tools on her that it made people and gods angry, she would run out sooner or later. When that time came, this stinky girl would die. Yun Chuzhou didn't believe it and ran to the south again. She was still blocked by the barrier, so she ran to the north again. However, she still couldn't get out, so she finally ran to the west. It's useless. Little girl, this formation is foolproof. You can't get out even if you go underground. The masked man laughed strangely like a cat catching a mouse. However, something unexpected happened. Yun Chuzhou actually broke through the barrier and disappeared in front of them. No. Impossible. What's going on? Didn't we test it before? This formation is foolproof. How did she get out? The 3 masked men quickly chased after her, but they were blocked by the barrier. How could this be? Let's hurry and send a message to 4th Elder. Maybe he can find the reason. The 3 of them put away the formation disc and activated the concealment talisman. One of them quickly sent a message to Yin Haoyu. Yin Haoyu was anxiously waiting for the news. He felt that this time, there would definitely be no mistakes. Yun Chuzhou, that wretched girl, was very smart. She would definitely find an excuse to avoid weeding. When the time came, the hidden guards that had been arranged beforehand would come in handy. This time, it was the 3 leaders of the Yin family's hidden guards. Killing Yun Chuzhou, who was at the 2nd level of the spirit sect, was as easy as flipping one's hand. There was no possibility of failure at all. When Yin Haoyu heard the black-clothed man's message, he was so angry that he smashed the desk with his palm. Trash. Trash. He could let that bitch escape just like that. They were all idiots. Chapter 1264 might have entered the forbidden area by mistake. After venting his anger, Deputy Dean Yin inquired in detail about what had happened. 4th Elder, we had clearly tested her. For some unknown reason, Yun Chuzhou rushed out from the west side. Moreover, we didn't find any traces of her. This. What on earth is going on? Deputy Dean Yin was so angry that he wanted to bang his head against the wall. How the hell would he know what was going on? However, wait a moment. The west side of the Spirit Herb Garden seemed to have been one of the forbidden grounds of the Tianyuan Academy a long time ago. However, nothing happened after that and the stone tablet in the forbidden grounds was removed, could it be that Yun Chujio had unintentionally entered the forbidden grounds? It should be like this. However, the forbidden grounds were all extremely dangerous. If she were to enter the forbidden grounds, she would definitely lose her life. I reckon that Yun Chujio entered the forbidden area by mistake. After all of you have cleaned up the traces, quickly leave. Teacher Su will not hold those students back for too long. When evening comes, someone will discover that Yun Chujio has disappeared. Yes. The black-robed man followed Deputy Dean Yin's instructions and cleaned up the traces of the fight. Then, he escaped through the gap in the Tian Yuan Academy's protective array. Although Feng Ming and the other two discovered that Yun Chujio had not returned, they understood Yun Chujio's personality. They reckoned that she had gone to slack off, so no one mentioned it. However, when it was sunset, Feng Ming and the others realized that Yun Chujio had not returned. They panicked and hurriedly reported to Teacher Su, "Teacher, junior sister Little Jio has not returned. Could something have happened? Humph. This Yun Chujio must be slacking off. Send her a message and tell her to come back quickly." Teacher Su said disdainfully. Feng Ming quickly sent a message to Yun Chujio but found that it was not successful. He became even more anxious. "Teacher Su, this message can't be sent. Something must have happened to junior sister Little Jio." Teacher Su also pretended to be anxious at this time. "Quick. Everyone split up and search." Everyone searched for a while, but naturally, they did not find anything. Moreover, this search had even covered up the traces of the black-clothed man that had not been cleaned up. Dean Huanfu and the others had also rushed over when they heard the news. After asking Instructor Su about what had happened, they were all frowning. A living person had disappeared just like that. How was this possible? Deputy Dean Xiao suddenly frowned. "Dean, do you still remember that this grassland was a forbidden area thousands of years ago? However, it had been safe and sound since then, so the sign of the forbidden area was removed. Could it be that Yun Chujio had entered the forbidden area by mistake?" Dean Huanfu was taken aback, and then he sighed. "What you said is very likely. If that's really the case, I'm afraid that Yun Chujio is doomed." Everyone remained silent. The Tianyuan Academy had existed for more than 10,000 years. It was said that at the very beginning, there were a total of 10 forbidden areas in the Tianyuan Academy. However, after that, there were some forbidden areas that didn't have any abnormalities, hence, they were no longer included in the list of forbidden grounds. However, they didn't expect that the forbidden grounds that hadn't been activated for thousands of years would actually be activated by Yun Chujio this time. It was likely that they would only have a slim chance of survival. Although Dean Huanfu suspected that Deputy Dean Yin was involved, he didn't manage to find any clues. Furthermore, Yun Chujio was the one who took the initiative to come here to use the latrine. She couldn't be blamed on Teacher Su, so he could only let it go. Dean Huanfu couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This Yun Chujio really didn't stop. Elder Jiang was in closed-door cultivation, or else he would definitely cause a ruckus. There was also His Excellency and young Master Wuji. Just thinking about it gave him a headache. Chapter 1265 Plants. At this moment, Yun Chujio was staring at the towering tomb in front of her in a daze. At that time, she was only focused on escaping and was trying her best to knock into the western barrier. Unexpectedly, there was a flash of white light in front of her eyes. When she opened her eyes again, she was already in front of a huge tomb. This was an extremely majestic tomb. There were complicated Sanskrit inscriptions engraved on the tomb door. Yun Chujio looked around for a long time but could not find a way out. She gritted her teeth. It seemed that she could only break into this huge tomb. Perhaps she could find a way out. Yun Chujio activated her defensive spirit tool and pushed the tomb door with extreme vigilance. She did not expect that the tomb door would be pushed open so easily. Yun Chujio still did not dare to be careless. She carefully looked inside, and this fellow suddenly became starry-eyed. Fuck. Is this a treasure trove? How can there be so many good things? The big tomb was filled with spirit tools and spirit tools. The light was so dazzling that it was almost impossible to open one's eyes. Just as Yun Chujio was about to take it, the black bead in her dantian trembled. Yun Chujio felt pain and immediately woke up. Fuck. She almost fell into the trap. How could there be such a good thing? It must be a trap. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio walked along the narrow tomb path without looking away. After Yun Chujio walked past the tomb path, she looked back and was so scared that she almost fell to the ground. She saw that there were no spirit tools or Qi Ling beside her. There were clearly piles of white bones, some of which were human and some of which were demonic beasts. Moreover, many of them were still in their deathbed positions. From the looks of it, they were either taking things, or they were eating spirit herbs. They were probably lost in the illusion and died. Glass ball, it seems that you are not completely useless. Since you have reminded me of the danger several times, I will scold you fewer times in the future. The black bead shook in disdain. Idiot. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Although the black bead could not speak, the contempt she felt was completely exposed. Fuck, you're just a broken bead, yet you're still looking down on her. You're really shameless. After Yun Chujio finished scolding the black bead, she continued to walk forward. The tomb path was very narrow and long. Yun Chujio walked for nearly an hour before the front suddenly opened up. It was actually a large hall, whether it was the stone slabs on the ground or the surrounding walls, they were all meticulously carved. The furnishings inside were also very exquisite. TSK, I wonder who the owner of this tomb is. What a waste. He actually built such a luxurious hall. This time, Yun Chujio learned her lesson. She did not dare to touch the things inside carelessly. Instead, she carefully looked at the murals carved on the wall. The murals were carved with some strange flowers and plants. Yun Chujio recognized some of them, but she did not recognize most of them. They were probably ancient herbs. It seemed that the owner of the murals was also an ancient person. Just when Yun Chujio was engrossed in looking at the murals, she suddenly heard rustling sounds. Yun Chujio could not help but become nervous. Then, to her horror, she discovered that the strange flowers and plants on the wall had actually broken out of the wall, and they began to attack Yun Chujio. The attacks of these demonic plants were different from those of demonic beasts. Some attacked with branches, some sprayed poisonous juices, some attacked with exploding seeds, and some directly opened their huge petals to swallow Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio only had one feeling right now. Was she intruding into the scene of plants fighting against zombies? Damn it, she didn't look like a zombie that had been beaten to pieces. Chapter 1266, Eating at the first sign of disagreement. Yun Chujio had no choice but to use the 8 immortal swords to protect herself first. Then, she directed the small purple needles to attack the demonic plants. Needless to say, the small purple needles were very effective against the demonic plants. The demonic plants were much weaker than the demonic beasts. As long as the small purple needles pierced into the body of the demonic plants, once they exploded, the demonic plants would wither. Before Yun Chujio could rejoice, she realized that the withered demonic plants were quickly resurrecting and were still attacking Yun Chujio ferociously. Fuck. They could actually be resurrected on the spot. This was the rhythm of exhausting her to death. 4 hours later, Yun Chujio was so tired that she was sweating profusely. This fellow had a miserable look on his face. Could it be that she was going to die of exhaustion in this tomb? Just when Yun Chujio was at her wit's end, the Guai Chao in her dantian began to clamor weakly. Yun Chujio frowned. You want to eat it? Are you sure these things are edible? Guai Chao nodded excitedly. Yun Chujio curled her lips. You can eat the things in this tomb. Aren't you afraid of eating your stomach? However, although Yun Chujio was 100 times reluctant, in order to survive, she had no choice but to, start eating. Yun Chujio used her defensive spirit tool to get close to a demonic plant. She pulled it over and began to eat it. As she ate, she thought sadly, fuck. She was really no different from those zombies now. Those demonic plants obviously did not expect to encounter a pervert who would start eating at the slightest disagreement. You are fucking human. You are not a herbivorous demonic beast. How dare you eat us? You pervert. Those poisonous demonic plants thought proudly that she would definitely not eat them. Their bodies were all extremely poisonous, and if she took a bite, she would be poisoned to death. After that, there was no after, because, without exception, they were all eaten by this pervert, Yun Chujio. Not to mention being poisoned, other than burping a few times, there was no discomfort at all. The demonic plants were afraid and hid back inside the wall, afraid that they would be eaten by this pervert. Yun Chujio, this fellow, was now a villain who had achieved his goal. She immediately changed her scowling expression from before. She placed her hands on her waist and shouted loudly, HMPH. Who else? Who else? Who else? If you have the ability, continue to attack me. I will eat all of you, not leaving a single one alive. Even though the demonic plants had already hid back on the stone wall, they were still trembling in fear. Pervert. This was a pervert. If she had known this would happen, she would not have provoked her. Where did this pervert come from? Yun Chujio cursed for a while more. After she felt that she had vented her anger, she no longer paid attention to the demonic plants and prepared to find a way out. At this moment, a door suddenly opened in front of the main hall. Yun Chujio walked towards the door without hesitation. It was not that she was brave, but she had no other choice now. Yun Chujio walked through the door along the tomb path and saw a group of handsome men. There were all kinds of handsome men. Some were cold, some were demonic, some were muscular, some were scholarly, some were mature uncles, and some were handsome young men. When the handsome men saw Yun Chujio, they did not surround her. Instead, they used their eyes to express their love. Yun Chujio shivered. Alright, although she liked handsome men, she could not afford to have such a large group. Besides, these people were quite beautiful. However, compared to the mermaid brother and the gigolo, they were not at all inferior. They only had skin and no temperament. There was only one word, vulgar. Chapter 1267, Little tricks. Those handsome men had been secretly flirting with her for a long time, but Yun Chujio was still standing there like a wooden stake. They were all a little confused. That's not right. Is this little girl still not enlightened? Why is there no reaction at all? Impossible. Even the old lady could not resist their charm. She must have been scared by the demonic plants from before. They tried harder, not believing that she would not take the bait. The handsome men continued to display their charm and heard the little girl say, "Are your eyes cramping? Do you need me to treat your eyes?" The handsome men suddenly felt their confidence being trampled on by someone, and they even stomped dozens of times. If you don't have cramps, then they'll get out of the way. I want to go over. Good dogs don't get in the way. Yun Chujio held a rolling pin in her hand and said to the handsome men as if she was driving a dog. The handsome men were immediately enraged. One by one, they pounced on Yun Chujio with twisted faces. Yun Chujio attacked them with the small purple needles while saying, "Humph. Each and every one of them is extremely ugly. They are still posing there. How shameless." The handsome men obviously did not want to be called ugly, so they attacked even more crazily. However, although they looked beautiful, their spiritual power level was really average. Yun Chujio quickly rushed to the other door, pushed it open and rushed out. After Yun Chujio passed through the door, those handsome men turned into white hair and scattered on the ground. Yun Chuzhou naturally did not know all of this. She was now looking at the handsome man in front of her with a dumbfounded face. The handsome man in front of her looked like Di Biming. Even the expression on his face was the same as Di Biming's. "Black thing, come here. I have something to tell you," the man said indifferently. Yun Chuzhou covered her mouth with her hand and stared at the man in front of her. TSK, although it was an illusion, it was very realistic. It was actually exactly the same as the gigolo. After she learned the puppet technique of the dry old man, she would modify it and make a gigolo puppet with a ratio of 1:1. She would ask him to serve tea and sing a song whenever she was free, ha ha ha. The man obviously did not expect this situation. Although the little girl in front of him was staring at him like a hook, she did not look infatuated at all. Instead, she looked like she was sizing up an object. In the end, she even started laughing strangely. However, why did that laughter sound so eerie and terrifying? He decided to put in more effort. "Black thing, what are you still standing there for? Why aren't you coming over?" "All right," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. The man was very proud. As long as she touched him, he would be able to achieve his goal. Just as he was thinking, he never expected Yun Chuzhou to throw a rolling pin at him. "You shameless bastard! How dare you imitate a gigolo? I'll slap you to death. Do you know what it means to draw a tiger but not turn it into a dog? You are. Little fellow, no matter how good your imitation is, I only need to take a look to tell if it's real or fake. How dare you put on such a little trick in front of me? It's so funny." The man was so scared that he hurriedly dodged. Yun Chuzhou shot out several small purple needles consecutively. After the man was hit by the small purple needles, he disappeared. Yun Chuzhou found that the person in front of her had changed again. It was Yun Chi's appearance. "Little Jiu, didn't you say that you wanted to repay me? Then you should repay me now. Now close your eyes and we will be together forever." Chapter 1268, Nine-Tailed Fox. Yun Chuzhou could not help but close her eyes. Yun Chi's eyes revealed a trace of viciousness. She turned into a wisp of green smoke and rushed towards Yun Chuzhou's forehead. Unexpectedly, Yun Chuzhou suddenly opened her eyes and jumped to the side. Several small purple needles shot into the green smoke. A miserable cry was heard from the green smoke. Then, the scene in front of Yun Chuzhou changed. It was a spacious tomb, and in front of it was a stone platform. 6 10,000-year-old black iron chains were tied to a huge demon beast. However, the demon beast had obviously been dead for a long time, and only a snow-white fur covered its skeleton. What surprised Yun Chuzhou the most was the 9 huge tails on the skeleton. The first thought in her mind was, "Nine-tailed fox. Could it be that a nine-tailed fox was once imprisoned here?" Just as Yun Chuzhou was thinking about it, smoke rose from the skeleton and a gigantic demonic beast appeared in front of Yun Chuzhou. It was a 9-tailed fox with pure white fur. "Stupid girl, I didn't expect you to break my layers of illusion formations. Although it's a little strange, you still can't escape the fate of being possessed by me today. It's actually a fox. No wonder the illusions are all flirtatious and lascivious. You want to possess me? Ha ha ha, dream on. Besides, you're an ancient divine beast. How can my body withstand your soul? Stupid girl, although I don't know the reason, your body is definitely the most suitable for me. That's why I use my remaining magic power to bring you in. Although you're a woman, it's alright. I've been waiting for tens of thousands of years for today." Nine-tailed fox said until here. 9 tails suddenly grew longer and coiled towards Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou dodged and shot several bolts of lightning at the 9-tailed fox. Even remnant souls were afraid of lightning, and the 9-tailed fox was no exception. The 9-tailed fox sneered, "Although our remnant souls are afraid of heavenly lightning, you are too weak. This little bit of heavenly lightning can't harm me. Sure enough, the nine-tailed fox did not even dodge. Yun Chujia's heavenly lightning struck the remnant soul's tail, but it really did not have any effect. Yun Chujio switched to using the small purple needles to attack. Although the effect was better, it was like an ant shaking a tree. The effect was basically negligible. Yun Chujio tried to use 8 immortal swords to attack again, and she also used a rolling pin to hammer, but they were all useless. If it were not for the jade token given to her by the old man and the countless defensive spiritual weapons on her body, she would have died long ago. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and suddenly rushed toward the skeleton that was tied up by the 10,000-year black iron. She shot several bolts of lightning at the huge fur. Stop! You stop! The nine-tailed fox was indeed anxious. How could Yun Chujio stop? She hacked even harder. Damn it, you are about to possess me, why should I listen to you? I will burn this fox's skin first. Stupid girl. Do you think you can deal with me just because you burned my skin and fur? I'm just a little reluctant. If you want to burn it, go ahead. I'll kill you first. As expected, the nine-tailed fox stopped stopping Yun Chujio, instead, it launched an even fiercer attack. Yun Chujio's heart sank. It seemed that burning its skin and fur was really useless. Then how could she kill it? Yun Chujio suddenly slapped her thigh. I'm so stupid. Since the remnant soul of the nine-tailed fox could exist here, it meant that Fu Ao and the others could do the same. Stinky fox, let's see how I'll deal with you. Stinky fox. Stop first. I can agree to be possessed by you. Anyway, I can't beat you, so I might as well suffer less. Yun Chujio suddenly shouted. Chapter 1269 Was her lover a monkey spirit? Nine-tailed fox was stunned, but it was a suspicious fox. It asked suspiciously, what trick are you trying to play? I'm warning you, not to mention a puny second-level spirit overlord like you, even someone who is 100 times stronger than you is no match for me. Since you're so confident, are you still afraid of me playing tricks? I'm about to die, you have to at least give me some time to say goodbye to this world. Yun Chujia's eyes reddened as she said sadly. The nine-tailed fox thought about it and felt that it was right. This little girl was really too weak. Why should I be afraid of her? When it thought about this, it retracted its 9 huge tails and stared at Yun Chujio. The little girl howled, oh my god. I'm really too miserable. I'm only 18 years old. I'm going to die. I'm not married yet. I haven't even given birth to a monkey yet. I'm really unwilling to die. Nine-tailed fox was stunned. Give birth to a monkey? Could it be that this little girl's lover was a monkey spirit? No one is more miserable than me. I was abandoned since I was young, and then my adoptive parents went missing. Furthermore, it was a charcoal ball. It was not easy for me to become a devastatingly beautiful woman, but my body was actually going to be taken over by a seductive fox. What a waste of a heavenly gift. It's still a fucking male. Won't I become a transvestite in the future? Although the nine-tailed fox did not find what Yun Chujio said pleasing to the ears, it did not find anything wrong with it because it felt that it was a demon, and Yun Chujio was a human. After it possessed her, it was indeed a human demon. Just as the nine-tailed fox was slightly distracted, Yun Chujio had already begun to move. Several small green bottles were opened by her, and even the natal puppet of the old man surnamed Een was released by her. When Fu Ao and the others were released and saw the huge nine-tailed fox in front of them, they wanted to kneel down to Yun Chujio. Oh my god, how can you always provoke some incredible existences? This is the ancient divine beast, the nine-tailed fox. Even when they were at their peak spiritual power, they were still not its match. The nine-tailed fox was even more dumbfounded. What the hell are these things? The remnant souls of ancient cultivators. Although they were very weak, there were too many of them. Were they planning to gang up on it? Stupid girl. I didn't expect you to have so many remnant souls of ancient cultivators, but you miscalculated. They are too weak now, they can't do anything to me. Although the nine-tailed fox was a little nervous, however, its attitude was still very arrogant. Yun Chuzhou didn't have time to talk nonsense with it. She commanded the remnant souls to start a round of battle. Both sides were evenly matched. However, Yun Chuzhou felt that in the end, her side would lose more. After all, some remnant souls were very weak now and could easily disappear completely. She had to end the battle as soon as possible. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou caught a glimpse of Old Man Yin, who was crazily fiddling with his natal puppet. Old Man Yin. What are you doing? Didn't you say that your Yin clan's puppet is very powerful? Prove it to me. I don't believe that such a small toy is powerful at all. Yun Chuzhou said disdainfully. When the old man surnamed Yin heard Yun Chuzhou's words, he immediately went crazy. What a joke! Our Yin clan's puppet isn't strong. If it's not strong, will Tian Dao destroy us? As soon as the old man surnamed Yin finished speaking, he heard a huge heavenly thunder coming from above his head. All the remnant souls were shocked, and even the nine-tailed fox trembled in fear. Only Yun Chuzhou felt that this voice was very friendly. Chapter 1270 was the puppet. Seeing this, Yun Chuzhou shouted happily, "Good scolding! Good scolding! What a good scolding! Old Man Yin, hurry up and continue scolding." The old man surnamed Yin was almost scared to death by the heavenly lightning. He did not dare to say anything more. Even his crazy look was much better. It was obvious that he had been scared awake. Yun Chuzhou was not afraid of those things. She shouted loudly, "Tian Dao is an old bastard. Tian Dao is a turtle bastard. Tian Dao is a shameless bastard." All the remnant souls, including the nine-tailed fox, wished they could shut Yun Chuzhou's mouth. However, the strange thing was that after Yun Chuzhou cursed for a long time, nothing happened. There was no heavenly lightning at all. All the souls were puzzled. What was going on? Old Man Yin, don't just stand there. Didn't you say that your puppet is powerful? Then hurry up and attack. Let me see. Yun Chuzhou did not have the time to think about why the heavenly lightning did not strike. The old man surnamed Yin snorted coldly. He didn't do anything. The natal puppet actually began to grow rapidly. It actually became almost the same size as the nine-tailed fox. Then, it threw several wind blades at the nine-tailed fox. Those wind blades weren't the wind blades that Yun Chuzhou usually saw. This couldn't even be called a wind blade. It should be called a machete. It was too domineering. Yun Chuzhou's eyes immediately shone with a blue light. Damn! This thing was called a puppet. Not only could it be powerful, but it was also clearly able to distinguish between friend and foe. Its attack power was also so fierce. This was great. She must learn this puppet technique. When the time came, she would let the old man see it. Nine-tailed fox clearly did not expect Yun Chuzhou to have such a perverse thing. She immediately fell into a disadvantageous position. Yun Chuzhou was afraid that the old man surnamed Yin would go crazy again in a while, so she quickly ordered Fu Ao and the others to strike while the iron was hot. She had to end the battle quickly, and she did not stop using purple needles to launch sneak attacks. After a quarter of an hour, the nine-tailed fox could not hold on any longer. Its figure gradually faded. It gritted its teeth and decided to stake everything. It suddenly rushed towards Yun Chuzhou, who was launching a sneak attack, between her eyebrows. It planned to forcefully possess her. The risk of forcibly possessing her was very high, but now there was no other choice. Moreover, it believed that she was an ancient divine beast. Her spiritual sense must be much stronger than Yunchujia's. She would definitely be able to successfully possess her. As long as she had a body, her magic power would increase by 60%. At that time, these remnant souls would be nothing to be afraid of. Although Yunchujio was on guard, the nine-tailed fox's speed was too fast. It still allowed her to drill into her spiritual sense. The old man surnamed Yin was shocked and said, "Oh no. If the nine-tailed fox wants to forcefully possess her, I'm afraid the little girl will be finished." Fu Ao and the others were not too worried. "Don't worry. Although the nine-tailed fox is powerful, it might not succeed. The little girl's spiritual sense is very powerful." The old man surnamed Yin did not quite believe it. Although she could command 8 immortal swords at the same time, how strong could a second-level spirit sect little girl's spiritual sense be? How could Fu Ao and the others believe in her so much? Yun Chujio sat down cross-legged, and the little silver dragon inside the rolling pin flew into Yun Chujia's forehead. This guy was rubbing his fists and rubbing his palms. This was my chance to show off again. Fuck, a flirtatious fox wants to possess. Did you ask this heavenly dragon? At this moment, the nine-tailed fox was being beaten up by the group in a daze. What the fuck were these things? Qi Ling. How could there be so many Qi Ling in the little girl's spiritual sense? The miniature Yun Chujio hugged her shoulders and looked at the nine-tailed fox who was being beaten up by a group of people. "Foxy fox, I didn't expect you to be so stupid as to want to walk into a trap. HMPH, you want to take my house? You're really courting death. Beat it up for me. Eat it and all of you will be much stronger. Perhaps your main bodies can also be upgraded." Chapter 1271. You're really a wild goose plucking its feathers. After hearing Yun Chujia's words, the artifact spirits became even more enthusiastic in their fight. Especially the little silver dragon that had just flown in, it gave the nine-tailed fox a claw. "You coquettish fox. You dare to be impudent in front of my heavenly dragon? I'll slap you to death, you little, bitch, bastard." Although the nine-tailed fox was shocked previously, it was not to the extent of being defeated. However, when it saw the little silver dragon, its heart instantly turned cold. If it was outside, it would naturally not be afraid of a broken stick. However, in its spiritual sense, its advantage was not so obvious compared to the little silver dragon, not to mention that it had so many weapon spirits. When it saw Yun Chujio attacking it with purple lightning again, it felt even more regretful. If it had known earlier, it would have waited for tens of thousands of years to not provoke this wretched girl. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Many weapon spirits swarmed forward, and with Yun Chujia's lightning, in less than an hour, the remnant soul of the nine-tailed fox was eaten by many weapon spirits. Of course, Yun Chujio ate the most, followed by the little silver dragon. Although the other weapon spirits were indignant, they did not dare to say anything. Originally, Yun Chujio did not break the contract with them according to the agreement, so they were very angry, but now that they saw the benefits, they felt that it was not bad to follow this little girl. In any case, the only people who often went out to be thugs were the 8 immortal swords. It was not bad for them to eat for free. After Yun Chujio ate the remnant soul of the nine-tailed fox, she opened her eyes. Fu Ao and the others were not worried at all about Yun Chujio being possessed, because throughout the entire process, this guy's expression was very calm. If she was possessed, her expression would definitely be very painful. The first thing that Yun Chujio did when she got up, cough cough, was to put the huge skeleton and fur of the nine-tailed fox into her storage ring. TSK, this huge fox skin looked much stronger than the old witch's snow cashmere blanket. After this fellow put away the skeleton and fur, he stared at the 10,000-year-old profound iron chains on the ground. If he were to turn this thing into a puppet, it would simply be awesome. Therefore, he began to pull the 10,000-year-old mysterious chains on the ground. The remnant souls could not bear to look at him anymore. He was really pulling the feathers out of a goose. If the mysterious chains could be pulled, would the nine-tailed fox still be trapped inside? Unexpectedly, one of the nine-tailed fox's chains was actually pulled out by Yun Chujio, probably because the nine-tailed fox was already dead. This guy used too much strength and fell to the ground with a plop. The fox did not care about the pain in its butt, and quickly pulled the other 5 10,000-year-old chains down as well. It happily put them into its storage ring. At this moment, it felt that the entire tomb began to tremble, and it was actually about to collapse. It turned out that the formation plate of the tomb was fixed by these 6 chains. With Yun Chujio's pull, the formation plate was indirectly destroyed. Yun Chujio was dumbfounded. She quickly put away all the remnant souls, then set up the spiritual energy shield and activated all the defensive spiritual weapons. Then, she hid in a place supported by pillars. At this moment, Din Huangfu and the others were discussing Yun Chujio's whereabouts on the Forbidden Land. They felt the ground tremble violently, and they were so scared that they hurriedly jumped to a safe place. Then, they realized that the ground had started to sink, and the sound of buildings collapsing came from below. The collapse lasted for an hour, and a huge pit appeared on the ground. Everyone connected this incident to Yun Chujio as a matter of course. Could it be that Yun Chujio had mistakenly entered the Forbidden Land and was buried there? Chapter 1272 The 7 Treasures Sky-shielding umbrella. Feng Ming and the other 2 shouted, "Junior Sister Jiu! Junior Sister Jiu! Are you down there?" Yin Sulian gloated, "Even if you're down there, you'll definitely be smashed to death. With such a big stance, not to mention her, even a spirit paragon wouldn't be able to withstand it. This is karma." "Shut up. Junior Sister Jiu will definitely be fine. Yin Xinlian's death is her deserved punishment. Moreover, on the life and death arena, life and death are the responsibility." Feng Ming roared angrily. "Feng Ming, in the past, Yun Chujio protected you all. Now that she's dead, just you wait. Just the 3 of you trash, sooner or later, HMPH. Yin Sulian's meaning was self-evident. Sooner or later, Feng Ming and the other 2 would be killed. Feng Ming and the other 2 were so angry that they were about to retort, then, they heard a leisurely voice coming from the deep pit. "Who's farting again? Am I going to die? Yin Sulian, a little bitch like you isn't dead yet. How can I die?" Following the voice, Yun Chujio flew up on the chopping board. Although her body was covered in dust, she looked energetic and did not look injured at all. You are not dead." Yin Sulian blurted out. "It seems that you really want me to die. Din Huangfu, I was attacked by 3 masked men this morning. You have to investigate carefully. Maybe someone took advantage of my position and tried to kill me for personal revenge." Yun Chujio said with a hint. Din Huangfu naturally understood who Yun Chujio was talking about. He nodded and said, "I will investigate thoroughly. Come to my study tomorrow morning." Yun Chujio looked at the sky and said, "Din, there's no need for tomorrow. Go now. The heavenly lightning is coming for me." Din Huangfu raised his head. Wu Yun had indeed started to gather. It seemed that this little girl had found an opportunity and was about to break through. Din Huangfu didn't dare to tarry. He hurriedly brought Yun Chujio to his own courtyard and activated the isolation array. Everyone was already used to it, so only a few people were watching from afar. Most of them had returned to their dormitories. In any case, every strike was the same, so there was really no point in it. However, Yun Chujio was slightly worried. "Din, the lightning this time seems to be more severe than the previous ones. You'd better stay away from me to avoid being accidentally injured." Din Huangfu also felt that the pressure from Wu Yun this time was more severe than usual. He thought to himself, Could it be that the lightning was more severe because Yun Chujio was about to break through to the level of a spirit saint? Yun Chujio, this fellow, had guessed a little. Previously, she had scolded the Tian Dao in the tomb. It was probably to give her a second chance. Dean, in order not to accidentally injure you, they'll let the lightning strike a hole this time. Don't worry, it won't kill me. Yun Chujio sat cross-legged in the northwest corner of the courtyard. Although Dean Huangfu had seen Yun Chujio's abnormal performance, he was still a little worried and gritted his teeth. He took out an exquisite small umbrella from his storage ring in pain. This is the 7 Treasures Sky Shielding Umbrella. It's a defensive immortal tool. Quickly refine it. It might be useful later. Yun Chujio didn't stand on ceremony. After dripping blood, she refined it. At this moment, the sky had completely darkened. The immense pressure made it hard for people to breathe. Those who were watching the show had all left. They felt that if they stayed any longer, they would definitely vomit blood. Even Dean Huangfu felt that he couldn't breathe. Only Yun Chujio was still sitting there calmly. She wasn't affected at all. Chapter 1273, Qi Ling. Yun Chujio raised her head to take a look. This time, there were quite a number of dark clouds, some new and some old. It seemed that the old bastard Tian Dao was preparing to kill her. However, he couldn't even kill her in the Qing Xian continent. Now, he wanted to kill her. Dream on. Boom. 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 Instead of probing as usual, the heavenly lightning struck Yun Chujio with all its might. Yun Chujio didn't joke around like she usually did. Instead, she sat there obediently and quickly refined the lightning spirit energy that surged into her meridians, in order to reduce the burden on her meridians. The 3 malefic stars in her dantian also quickly devoured the lightning energy in her dantian, especially the black pearl, which was simply wolfing it down. At this moment, Yun Chujio felt that the black pearl was still somewhat useful. At the very least, it could share quite a bit of the lightning energy. Dean Huangfu, who was watching from the side, was terrified. This time, the intensity was almost as strong as the previous few combined attacks. Could the little girl withstand it? However, even if he helped her, she could only withstand a few dozen attacks at most. It was simply a drop in the bucket. She couldn't do much and could only rely on herself. Deputy Dean Yin stood in his own courtyard and looked in the direction of Dean Huangfu's courtyard. He couldn't help but let out a sinister sneer. Yun Chujio, although you were lucky enough to escape this calamity, this time, you're dead for sure. This time, the heavenly lightning wasn't as random as usual. One look and you could tell that it came with the power of the heavens. You're dead for sure. At this moment, Yun Chujio was also thinking of a countermeasure. According to this intensity, another 10 hours would be the limit. However, it was clear that the heavenly lightning this time didn't come with good intentions. What would she do after 10 hours? She had to think of a countermeasure as soon as possible. Time passed quickly. Yun Chujio felt as if her meridians were about to explode. She was about to reach her limit. Damn it! It's all old man Yin's fault. If he hadn't cursed at Tian Dao, I wouldn't have cursed as well. These cunning heavenly lightning actually didn't strike me in the forbidden area. Instead, they struck me after I came out. How treacherous, Yun Chujio cursed in her heart until this point. Suddenly, her heart moved and she flew out of the pit. Dean, I'm going to hide in the trial tower. Please send a message to Teacher Mu and ask him to prepare a jade token for me. Although Dean Huangfu didn't know what Yun Chujio was planning, he knew that this fellow had many wicked ideas. Not only did he send a message to Teacher Mu, he even opened a path in front to disperse the students on the way so that they wouldn't be accidentally injured by the heavenly lightning. Thus, everyone in the Academy of Heaven Studies saw a scene that they would never forget for the rest of their lives. Dean Huangfu led the way. 1,000 zhang away from him was Yun Chujio. Several bolts of lightning continuously struck Yun Chujia's body. Everyone couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines. Oh my god! There should be dozens of bolts of lightning all of a sudden, right? This Yun Chujio hadn't been struck to death yet. How was this possible? But, where was she going? Could it be that she was prepared to choose a good place to die? 15 minutes later, Yun Chujio finally arrived in front of the trial tower. Teacher Mao did not dare to get close to Yun Chujio and threw a jade token to Yun Chujio from afar. Yun Chujio took the jade token and placed it on the groove of the trial tower's door. The trial tower actually did not open. Yun Chujio cursed angrily, "Xiao Hei, open the door quickly, or I will pluck all your fur. I will make you run for your life." The trial tower's weapon spirit hid in the 9th level and paced around anxiously. On one side was Tian Dao, and on the other side was the little demon. What should it do? Qi Ling thought to himself. Chapter 1274. This fellow was seeking death by playing tricks. If I offend Tian Dao, I won't be able to cultivate into a human body for the rest of my life. However, it's fine if the little devil is struck to death. If she can't die, she definitely won't forgive me. What should I do? Just as the item spirit of the trial tower was hesitating, he heard Yun Chujio continue cursing outside, "Xiao Hei, Qi Ling, to think that you are an ancient divine artifacts item spirit. Your brain is even dumber than a pig's. What kind of good thing do you think Tian Dao is? Did you receive a reward for helping him trap me the last time? You are an ancient divine artifact. Are you afraid that he will strike you? Besides, you opened it normally. What right does he have to punish you? Who made it a rule that the heavenly lightning spirit root cannot enter the trial tower? Let me in immediately. Otherwise, I have plenty of ways to torture you. Running around naked is the lightest method. I will draw a little bastard on you. I will destroy your back garden for you." Just as Yun Chujio was cursing, the door to the trial tower opened, and Yun Chujio dashed in. The dark clouds in the sky were distorted, but they were helpless against the divine weapon. Even if they hacked it, they wouldn't be able to destroy it, so they could only continue gathering outside. Dean Huangfu and Teacher Mao were both dumbfounded and frightened. Although the thunder was deafening, they still heard some of Yun Chujio's words. Fuck. Yun Chujio's scolding of the trial tower's Qi Ling was like scolding a grandson. Last time, this fellow even said that the Qi Ling was teasing her. Forget it. With your tone, it was teasing you. It would be good if you didn't tease it. Oh God, and it actually said that Tian Dao wasn't a good thing. No wonder the heavenly lightning didn't give up until it struck her to death. This fellow was really seeking death by playing tricks. This guy was really too fierce. He actually went against Tian Dao. It was really scary. Yun Chujio did not care how they cursed in their hearts. This time, this guy was not teleported to the sea. Instead, he was teleported to a valley. 2 level 21 gold-spotted wind blade leopards were staring at her. Yun Chujio was also a person who had seen the world. She did not care about these 2 gold-spotted wind blade leopards at all. Besides, they would not die in there anyway. 2 kittens, if you know what's good for you, you can go back to where you came from. I will go out after a short rest. We will not interfere with each other. If you don't know what's good for you, I will make you beg for death. Yun Chujio said fiercely. The 2 gold-spotted wind blade leopards roared. You are the kittens. Your whole family is kittens. The 2 gold-spotted wind blade leopards were enraged and rushed towards Yun Chujio from both sides. Yun Chujio jumped back and dodged the attacks of the 2 gold-spotted wind blade leopards. Seeing that Yun Chujio had dodged the attacks, the 2 gold-spotted wind blade leopards immediately launched another wave of wind blade attacks. Yun Chujio thought that since she could not use up all the lightning spiritual energy in her body, she might as well set up a spiritual energy barrier. Then, she waved her hands repeatedly and attacked the eyes of the two gold-spotted wind-blade leopards and other vulnerable spots. One man and two leopards were fighting each other, and there was no clear winner at the moment. Yun Chuzhou was impatient. She did not have time to waste with them, so she got the little black bird to start cursing. Taking advantage of the moment when one of the gold-spotted wind-blade leopards staggered, several small purple needles entered its eyes. After the small purple needles exploded, the gold-spotted wind-blade leopard rolled on the ground in pain. Yun Chuzhou brought out the three-tailed fox king of Lai Yan and Xiao He, and let the two deal with the blind golden-spotted wind-blade leopard while she dealt with the other golden-spotted wind-blade leopard. Chapter 1275 was too humiliating. A quarter of an hour later, the blind golden-spotted wind-blade leopard was killed by the two little ones, and the remaining golden-spotted wind-blade leopard was also half dead by Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou simply threw a sleeping powder at the golden-spotted wind-blade leopard. The golden-spotted wind-blade leopard was already half dead, so it was knocked out in an instant. The two of you keep an eye on it. If it wakes up, continue scattering the sleeping powder. It'll comb through the lightning spiritual force in my body, Yun Chuzhou said to the two little ones. The two little ones nodded in agreement. Yun Chuzhou began to meditate with her legs crossed, combing through the raging lightning spiritual force in her body. 2 hours later, the lightning spiritual force in her meridians all converged into her dantian and was devoured by the three malefactors. Yun Chuzhou felt that she had come back to life. Yun Chuzhou ate some more food and kept the two little ones. Then, she activated the jade token and left the trial tower. At this moment, Wu Yun was still gathered above the trial tower. The immense pressure forced Dean Huangfu and Teacher Mao to hide thousands of feet away. If they weren't too worried about Yun Chuzhou, they would have hidden even further away. They found it difficult to breathe even when they were thousands of feet away. Just as the two of them were watching, they saw Yun Chuzhou being ejected. Dean Huangfu thought to himself, "Dear ancestor, why did you hide in there for so long? It hasn't even been 4 hours, why did you come out? The heavenly lightning hasn't left yet." Just as Dean Huangfu was thinking this, he saw Yun Chuzhou pointing at Wu Yun in the sky with her hands on her hips and scolding, "Damn it! It's not that easy to kill me. Come on. Kill me. If you don't kill me today, you will become grandsons." Old Yun was still fine in the sky, but the new Wu Yun was furious. "How dare you challenge our heavenly lightning? It'll definitely kill you today." Boom! 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 Countless bolts of heavenly lightning struck Yun Chuzhou again. Yun Chuzhou was more confident now. Since she couldn't take it anymore, she could enter the trial tower again. After resting, she could come out again. These bolts of heavenly lightning wouldn't work. Sooner or later, the spiritual power of the lightning would be exhausted. It's better for me to absorb more lightning spiritual power. Another 6 hours passed. Yun Chuzhou felt that her meridians couldn't take it anymore, so she entered the trial tower again. Yun Chuzhou still used the same method as last time. She didn't kill the demon beast completely. Then, she used this time to comb the lightning spiritual power. After resting enough, she would come out again to provoke the heavenly lightning bolts. After doing this twice, Yun Chuzhou became more and more lively, but the dark clouds in the sky became more and more dispirited. Those familiar clouds had long lost their fighting spirit. This was a pervert. Their heavenly thunder was powerful, but it could not be compared to a pervert. This guy simply could not be hacked to death. It was already good enough that they did not roast the spiritual potato chi today. Those new dark clouds also completely stopped eating. Wu Yun, it really hurt their self-esteem. No wonder this stinky girl dared to challenge them. It turned out that she was not a human at all. She was a monster. And that damn trial tower, aiding the wicked. It was really detestable. After returning, they would definitely pin all the blame on it. The trial tower's tool spirit fiercely sneezed twice. Damn it, who was scolding it? Could it be the little girl? It had already let her in, and she was still scolding it. Shameless. When the Wu Yun in the sky saw that there was no longer any possibility of killing Yun Chuzhou, it could only float away unwillingly. The moon and stars once again revealed the layer of clouds. The ground was clear and bright. If one ignored the few deep pits on the ground, it was no different from a normal night. Chapter 1276 I am a simple-minded person. Yun Chuzhou handed the jade token to the dumbfounded Teacher Mao. Teacher Mao, thank you very much. I will bring the students from the Huang class to help you fill in these deep holes tomorrow. After Yun Chuzhou finished speaking, she looked at Dean Huangfu. Dean, I will leave the matter of how to fool those onlookers to you. Those who are capable will have to work harder. I will go back and rest now. I am really too weak right now. Dean Huangfu looked at Yun Chuzhou, who was like a happy rabbit and was dumbfounded. You're weak? I'm almost scared out of my wits by you, aren't I? And you want me to clean up the mess for you? I even built an immortal artifact. Right, I'll use an immortal artifact to talk about the matter. I'll say that the little girl had an immortal artifact that the hall master's wife had given to her, so she was fine before. Later on, she hid in the trial tower and escaped a calamity. Right, that's what I'll say. Dean Huangfu thought of another matter. That's right, I wonder how many levels this little girl has risen this time. Anyway, shall go back to look for him tomorrow, so let's ask her together. It was already the second half of the night. Dean Huangfu and Teacher Mao gave a few simple instructions, and the two of them went back to rest. The next day, it just so happened that the Huang class didn't have any classes in the morning. Yun Chuzhou had Feng Ming bring some Huang class students to fill up the hole in front of the trial tower, while she hopped over to Dean Huangfu's courtyard. The deep hole in the courtyard had already been filled up by the guards and servants. Yun Chuzhou rubbed her nose and entered Dean Huangfu's study. How did you accidentally enter the forbidden area yesterday? What happened inside? Dean Huangfu asked curiously. There were 3 masked men chasing after me, and they used some kind of array formation. I ran in 3 other directions but didn't manage to escape. I ran towards the west, but I didn't expect to enter a huge tomb. A huge tomb? Dean Huangfu asked in surprise. The huge tomb was filled with illusions. Fortunately, I was simple-minded, so I didn't fall for the trap. In the end, I found 6 10,000-year-old black iron chains on a stone platform. I thought that this was a good thing, so I pulled it out. I didn't expect that the huge tomb would collapse right after I pulled the 6 chains out. In order to prove that what she said was true, Yun Chuzhou took out the 6 10,000-year-old black iron chains. He took out 6 10,000-year-old black iron chains. Dean, this thing is very strong. It's useful for refining weapons. I'll give you one. Take it and play with it. Yun Chuzhou pointed at a 10,000-year-old black iron chain and said to Dean Huangfu. Dean Huangfu said unhappily, "You little girl, you make it sound like I'm greedy." Although Dean Huangfu said so, he conveniently put the 10,000-year-old black iron chain into his storage ring. It could be used to strengthen his offensive spirit weapon. Not bad, not bad. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. What a hypocrite. By the way, how much did you level up last night? It's only the 3rd level. I'm now at the 2nd level of the Spirit Saint realm, Yun Chuzhou said unhappily. Dean Huangfu wished he could kill her with a slap. How could he not be satisfied with the 3rd level? You are too greedy. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. She had made a big fuss yesterday. This time, she raised her spiritual power a little, so she raised it to the 5th level of the spirit sect. Dean Huangfu was already used to Yun Chuzhou's black-bellied nature, so he asked her about some other matters before letting Yun Chuzhou go. Yun Chuzhou first went to the trial tower to take a look. Feng Ming had already brought some people to fill in the hole. Yun Chuzhou chatted with the others for a while before jumping back to her dormitory. This fellow was still thinking about the nine-tailed fox's fur and skeleton. She was too tired yesterday and didn't have the time to look at it carefully. Today, she had to take a good look. It was best to have the ball of wool make her some overcoats, vests, and blankets. Chapter 1277 Materialized. A little piglet Yun Chuzhou returned to her dormitory. After activating the isolation array, she took out the nine-tailed fox's fox skin. The huge fox skin covered the entire courtyard, but only a small part of it was opened. Most of it could not be opened yet. From this, one could see how huge the nine-tailed fox was. Yun Chuzhou touched it and was very satisfied with the feeling in her hand. This thing was indeed much stronger than the old witch's carpet. She took out an immortal sword and spent a lot of effort to cut off a large piece. Then, she asked Mao Qiu to make her a full set of nine-tailed fox costumes. Mao Qiu loved to sew, so she happily agreed. Yun Chuzhou put away the rest of the fox skin and took out a piece of nine-tailed fox's bone to examine. Yun Chuzhou was holding a small section of the nine-tailed fox's tail bone. It was as white as jade and looked like a piece of jade. The bone of a divine beast was indeed extraordinary. Just as Yun Chuzhou was mumbling to herself, the three-tailed fox king of Lai Yen used his spiritual sense to say, "Master, becoming a nine-tailed fox has always been my dream. Can you let me see it?" Yun Chuzhou naturally would not disapprove and let Lai Yen out. The three-tailed fox king of Lai Yen was very excited when it saw the nine-tailed fox's tail bone. It sniffed around with its nose. Yun Chuzhou saw that it was so interested. She said, "Xiao Hong, I'll give this piece of bone to you as a toy. Take it and play with it." The three-tailed fox king of Lai Yen was overjoyed. It felt that Xiao Hong's name had become much more pleasing to the ear. It kept the piece of bone into its storage space. In the following days, everything was peaceful. Yun Chuzhou did not dare to neglect it. That old bastard Yin Haoyu must be plotting something bigger. She had to speed up her cultivation. However, it was already the end of the semester, so Deputy Dean Yin didn't make any further moves. Yun Chuzhou couldn't help but be curious. What exactly was this old bastard planning? Turning back. Tui. Only such a heartless person wouldn't get better. Only by reincarnating would there be a possibility of getting better. During this period of time, although Yun Chuzhi's spiritual power couldn't level up again, this guy secretly learned the intermediate physical transformation technique from teacher Ji Sha. Although teacher Ji Sha was surprised that Yun Chuzhi's actual spiritual power had already reached the level of a spirit saint, he did not ask further. He used a few days to pass the intermediate physical transformation technique to Yun Chuzhou. The intermediate physical transformation technique was between the advanced physical transformation technique and the beginner physical transformation technique. The spiritual power that was materialized still did not have any intelligence. However, compared to the beginner physical transformation technique, which could materialize objects, the intermediate physical transformation technique could materialize animals. When attacking, it would be much stronger than the beginner-level physical transformation technique. After Yun Chuzhou learned the intermediate-level physical transformation technique, she returned to her own courtyard and began to practice. With the foundation of the beginner-level physical transformation technique, Yun Chuzhou quickly learned the intermediate-level physical transformation technique. However, when she saw the object that she materialized, she decided to use the beginner-level physical transformation technique in the future. It was too fucking embarrassing. Xiao Hanio laughed and rolled on the ground. Master, you actually materialized. Materialized into a pig, and it's a little piglet. Oh my god, this is so funny. Master, could it be that this thing is different for different people? Xiao Hanio was domineering, so he had an ice dragon. The black chicken's head would fiddle with the skull for no reason, so his was a spiritual skull. You, on the other hand, liked to eat it, so materialized into a pig. Ha, ha. Xiao Hanio felt that this joke was enough for him to laugh at for a lifetime. Chapter 1278, Love Your Enemies to Death. Yun Chujio was so angry that she kicked the Xiao Hanio away. The Xiao Hanio flapped its short wings and laughed non-stop on the tree. Master, when we fight in the future, they will release a tiger, an eagle, and a wolf. With a poof, you will release a pig, and it will be a small piglet. That scene is simply too beautiful. Ha ha ha. Damn, I'm dying of laughter. Yun Chujio was so angry that she took off a shoe and threw it at Xiao Hanio. Xiao Hanio was very smart, so of course it could not hit it. Master, don't hit me, I am helping you to adapt in advance. When you use your spiritual energy, it will definitely cause a sensation, even more so than your little purple needle. Xiao Hanio stared at it with its bean-like eyes and quibbled. Yun Chujio glared at it and sulked. Fuck. Xiao He was right. In the future, when she fought with others, they would release majestic beasts and birds of prey. She would release a fucking pig, and it was a fucking piglet. That sour feeling was simply too intoxicating. She decided that in future battles, she would use the little purple needle. As for the pig, she would forget about it. Thus, a few days later, when teacher Ji Sha asked Yun Chujio to learn the intermediate level materialization of spiritual power, Yun Chujio shook her head like a rattledrum. I didn't learn it. I might have been too anxious. Let's talk about it in the future. Teacher Ji Sha looked at Yun Chujio's back suspiciously. It shouldn't be. With Yun Chujio's comprehension and spiritual power, how could she not learn it? It was really strange. Yun Chujio sank into deep sorrow. Could it really be because she was greedy that she materialized a piglet? When she learned a high-level materialization technique, wouldn't she materialize a big pig with intelligence? She was going crazy. The wolves, tigers, and leopards that she materialized would use their claws and sharp teeth to bite each other. What about her? Was she trying to make the piglet act cute? Cute to death. No, she would definitely rematerialize an animal and definitely not this piglet. Yun Chujio started practicing persistently. Then, she sadly realized that other than the piglet that she materialized being more lively, there was no other change at all. This fellow gave up. Damn it. So be it. Zhu Beiji was also quite powerful. Although he was lazy, greedy, and lecherous, woo, why did it seem like he was talking about her? Yun Chujio decided to do something else to divert her grief. Unfortunately, the dry old man had been studying the puppet and had no time to pay attention to her. This fellow had no choice but to go to the spirit beast garden to practice beast taming techniques. Other students practiced with demonic beasts that had lower spiritual power than themselves. This guy specially picked demonic beasts that had higher spiritual power than himself to practice with. This was because this guy felt that he had to find someone stronger than himself to find help. Otherwise, why would he waste his energy? However, those demonic beasts with higher spiritual power would naturally not be willing to be controlled. Unless Yun Chujio threatened or tricked them, there was no way to establish a spiritual connection. Yun Chujio once again sank into deep sorrow. Damn it, if she was facing an enemy, how would she have the time to trick them? She had to find a way to directly establish a spiritual connection. Yun Chujio's idea was good, but she never found it. Just like that, it reached the end of the first grade semester. No students would be eliminated this semester, so everyone was very relaxed. The academy arranged for all the students to go to the 9 Serenities crypt to train. The 9 Serenities crypt was divided into 9 levels. The 1st to 3rd levels were suitable for students below the level of a spirit saint, the 4th to 6th levels were suitable for students of the level of a spirit saint, and as for the demonic beasts in the 7th to 9th levels, they were all equivalent to the level of a spirit paragon. The level of spirit energy of the students was simply not enough, so they could only stop at the 6th level. Actually, it was said that the 9 Serenities crypt still had the 10th level, and there was a huge treasure hidden inside. However, no one had ever broken through to the 8th level, let alone the legendary 10th level. Chapter 1279. The 9 Serenities crypt, and Yun Chujio heard about the huge treasure. Her eyes immediately began to glow with blue light. However, compared to the treasure, this fellow still cherished his life more. Level 10. Forget it. She would just stay below level 3. After the trial, she could go to the Temple of Immortals to see the pretty boy. This fellow completely did not consider whether the palace mistress would invite her or not. She had already thought it through. If the palace mistress did not invite her, she would ask Di Biming to come to Idol City to accompany her. At that time, the old witch would definitely bring her to the Temple of Immortals. The delicious food in her storage ring was all gone, so it was a good time to replenish it. Moreover, it was quite fun to fight with the old witch. The 9 Serenities crypt was different from other trial locations. Talismans could be used here, but the sound transmission talisman could not be used. Moreover, it prohibited flying. Yun Chujio thought of the hundreds of super-grade explosive talismans in her storage ring. The corners of her mouth curled into a sinister smile. The Yin family might take action again this time. If they provoked her, hee. Feng Ming and the other two saw the smile on Yun Chujio's lips and shivered in fear. What evil scheme was little 9th junior sister playing? Someone was definitely going to be unlucky. The trial period is half a month. Only when the trial period ends will you be sent out. After you enter, you must act within your capabilities. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. The trial this time will not be ranked. However, the 9 Serenities crypt has a special type of ore, the 9 Serenities stone. After you mine it, you can use it to exchange for contribution points. Deputy Dean Xiao, who was leading the team, said in a deep voice. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. This academy was really smart. They were using them as free miners. Not only were they not angry, but they were also working hard to mine because they could use them to exchange for contribution points. Alright, it's time for the Joyo crypt to open. You guys can go down. Deputy Dean Xiao pointed at a deep cave entrance and said. The students entered the cave one after another. Yun Chujio followed Feng Ming and the other two into the cave. After entering the 9 Serenities crypt, Yun Chujio couldn't help but click her tongue in wonder. Although the name of this 9 Serenities crypt was gloomy and terrifying, the scenery inside was actually quite good. Stones of all shapes and sizes were scattered and arranged in a neat manner. Moreover, it was also colorful. Most importantly, there were many plants growing in this crypt. Other than the absence of the sun, it was no different from the outside. Although there was no sun in the cave, the strange thing was that although the light inside was not very bright, the visibility was still good. Yun Chujio quickly found out the reason. It turned out that the stones of different colors could emit a faint light, and the cave relied on these stones to get light. After walking for a distance, the demon beasts and students in the cave began to fight. The higher grade students naturally disdained to deal with these low-level demonic beasts. After shaking off the demonic beasts, they continued to walk forward. After finding the entrance, they directly entered the next level. Very soon, there were not many people left on the first level. After all, after a year of study, the first-grade students had basically reached the 6th to 8th level of the spirit sect. Their destination was the 3rd level of the demonic beasts. Yun Chujio did not have any intention of continuing down. Feng Ming and the other two naturally stayed behind to accompany her. Junior sister Little Jill, are you prepared to stay on the 1st level? Feng Ming and the others had already reached the 5th level of the spirit sect. Although they were still weaker than the other students, they would definitely catch up to or even surpass the others in a period of time. Yes, fighting and killing is very boring. You guys go to the second level. Oh right, take these talismans and keep them just in case. Yun Chujio gave Feng Ming and the other two a thick stack of super-grade explosive talismans. Chapter 1280, Xiao Hong had a new tail. Although Feng Ming and the other two didn't know why the talisman was glowing with a faint golden light, they could tell that it was a good item at a glance. They asked in a low voice, "Junior sister Xiaojiu, where did you get this?" "You gave it to us." "What are you going to do?" "It's a little thing that I drew at home. It's not worth mentioning. Take it and play with it. If it's used up, ask me for it again," Yun Chujio said nonchalantly. "A little toy that I drew myself. Play with it." "Junior sister Jiu, are you sure you're talking about the explosive talismans that we have in our hands? Could it be that these talismans were drawn by Junior sister Jiu? Since when did Junior sister Jiu know how to draw talismans again?" The three of them were dumbfounded. After instructing Yun Chujio to pay attention to her safety, they found the entrance and went down to the second level of the Nine Serenities crypt for the trial. The demonic beasts on the first level had initially challenged Yun Chujio, but Yun Chujio had already summoned the three-tailed flaming fox king and Xiao He, allowing them to Lai Yen and Lai Yen. As Yun Chujio's spiritual power increased, the three dumb beasts' spiritual power also increased. Yun Chujio could not help but curse in her heart. It was better to be a spiritual beast. If they did not put in much effort, they would be able to bask in the glory of their master. Those demonic beasts were no match for Lai Yen and Xiao He. They quickly retreated to the depths of the cave and did not come out again. However, Yun Chujio found a problem. "Xiao Hong, why do I feel that there is something wrong with you?" Lai Yan's body trembled. Every time it heard the name Xiao Hong, it would unconsciously tremble. "Master, what is wrong? I feel that my entire body is full of energy. It is very good." Yun Chujio took a closer look and finally found something that was out of place. Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king's tail actually popped out again, even though it was only a short tail. Your tail." Yun Chujio said in surprise. "Master, what's wrong with my tail? I'm not bragging, but my three tails are the most beautiful tails in the world. They're blazing red like flames. They're so high-end." Lai Yan's eyes twitched. The corner of Yun Chujio's eyes twitched violently. Why did these three little things become so narcissistic? Could it be that the one who gets close to the ink gets black? Pooey. Pooey. This is the one who gets close to the ink gets red. I mean, you seem to have grown another tail. Yun Chujio felt that there was no one else who could be so slow-witted as a fox. Only then did the three-tailed fox king of Lai Yen turn its head to look at its own tail suspiciously. When it saw that it had really grown another tail, it was so excited that it fainted. Yun Chujio could not bear to look at it. Was such a stupid fox. It was more like a pig. At the mention of pigs, Yun Chujio's entire being was in a bad mood. She immediately thought of the piglet that she had materialized. Not long after, the three-tailed fox king of Lai Yen woke up. It jumped up and down happily. "Master! This is the highest honor of our three-tailed fox. I actually became a four-tailed fox of Lai Yen. Ha ha ha. I will definitely become a nine-tailed fox in the future." Compared to the Lai Yen three-tailed fox king's elation, Yun Chujio was more concerned. "Xiao Hong, you have another tail. Does this mean you have more abilities?" Lai Yen three-tailed fox king immediately became listless. "Master, this tail is only a small part. It's useless. I will only know what innate ability I have when it grows to the same size as the other three." Yun Chujio pouted. "In that case, stop showing off. Cultivate obediently." The three-tailed fox king of Lai Yen rolled its eyes. Master, I've discovered something. Chapter 1281 turned out to be the work of the tailbone. Yun Chuzhou looked at Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king in confusion. What is it? The reason why I was able to grow my fourth tail, I think it has something to do with the nine-tailed fox's tailbone that I usually play with. Perhaps the aura on it has stimulated my hidden bloodline. Can you give me a few more pieces? Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king said in a fawning manner. Yun Chuzhou felt that it made sense, so she stuffed a few more tails of the nine-tailed fox into the spirit beast bag and left them for the three-tailed fox king of Lai Yan to play with. Just as Yun Chuzhou was about to cultivate, she felt an inexplicable sense of danger in her heart. She quickly activated the 7-treasure sky-shielding umbrella that Dean Huangfu had given her. 3 gusts of wind attacked Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou dodged 2 of them, and the other one was blocked by the 7-treasure sky-shielding umbrella. Yun Chuzhou was shocked. It must be the 3 people who killed her last time. It turned out that old bastard, Yin Haoyu, had not made any movements. He was taking this opportunity to kill her. Want to take her life? Don't even think about it. Seeing that the 3 people had not shown themselves, Yun Chuzhou guessed that they had used a concealment talisman. Damn it, it was as if she did not have a concealment talisman. Yun Chuzhou also activated the concealment talisman. Then, she sadly discovered that the 3 of them were still able to accurately attack her. This could only mean one thing. These 3 people were all spiritual venerables and above, therefore, her concealment talisman had no effect on them. Yun Chuzhou had no choice but to put away the concealment talisman. Then, she cursed loudly, Bah! 3 people with spiritual venerables cultivation level actually hid their heads and tails in front of me, a 5th level spirit sect member. How shameless! This is all your Yin family has. You even used a concealment talisman to kill people. What a loser. Those 3 people were usually proud and arrogant. After being provoked by Yun Chuzhou, they removed the concealment talisman and revealed their figures. One of them said viciously, Stinky girl, you took advantage of me last time. This time, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings. The 3 of you, let's make a deal. I'll use spirit stones to exchange for my little life, is that alright? Yun Chuzhou said pitifully. The 3 of them laughed out loud. Stupid girl, everyone says that you're smart and resourceful, but now it seems like that's all there is to it. After we kill you, your storage ring will be ours. Do we still need to make a deal with you? Yun Chuzhou covered her mouth. Ah, what you said makes sense. Why did I suddenly become stupid? Brotherly, don't talk nonsense with her. Just kill her directly. The longer it takes, the more trouble there will be. Otherwise, there will be more complications, said one of the short and fat men. When the other 2 heard the short and fat man's words, they launched another attack at Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou suddenly took out a few talismans and threw them at the 3 of them. The 3 of them knew that Yin Xinlian was killed by Yun Chuzhou's sudden rupture talisman, so they quickly retreated to avoid it. They didn't expect that after the explosion, they would realize that it was only a low-grade rupture talisman. The 3 of them let out a sigh of relief. It made sense. The sudden rupture talisman was so precious. How could Yun Chuzhou still have it? This low-grade rupture talisman was no threat to them at all. Yun Chuzhou kept throwing talismans. Without exception, all of them were low-grade rupture talismans. At first, the 3 of them still tried to dodge, but later on, they simply used their spiritual energy barrier to resist. Anyway, the power of this low-grade rupture talisman was limited. At this time, Yun Chuzhou was already forced into a dead end. There was no way to avoid it. Stupid girl, let's see where you can run to this time. Prepare to die. The short and fat man said fiercely. Yun Chuzhou showed a terrified expression. She took out a talisman and threw it at the 3 of them again. The three of them were very excited when they saw that they were about to kill Yun Chujio, so they formed a spiritual energy barrier and continued to approach Yun Chujio. They did not dodge the talisman at all. Chapter 1282 Explosion. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed with a fierce light. She had been waiting for this moment. This time, Yun Chujio threw out 3 burst talismans in addition to the supreme-grade burst talismans. The low-grade burst talismans she threw earlier were to confuse the 3 of them. Boom! 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 The sound of the burst talismans was mixed with the screams of the 3 of them. Yun Chujio's hands did not stop. She continued to throw a bunch of supreme-grade burst talismans at the 3 of them. Damn, I told you to kill me. I'm gonna blow you up so bad your parents don't even know you. I've prepared so many super explosive talismans just for you. I'll blow. I'll blow. I'll blow it up. The 3 masked men, well, they were no longer masked men. The cloth covering their faces had long been blown away. Although the 3 of them had the cultivation of spiritual venerables, they also had quite a number of defensive spirit tools on them. However, they could not withstand Yun Chujio's abnormal talisman attack. The 3 of them were filled with regret. If they had known earlier that this would happen, they would not have removed the concealment talisman. It was really a mistake. Now, they did not even have the time to activate the concealment talisman. This was because an endless stream of talismans were exploding. Although they could not compare to the sudden cracking talisman, their power was still very shocking. They didn't know where this stinky girl got so many talismans. The 3 of them kept consoling themselves. The stinky girl couldn't have too many talismans in her hands. They would soon run out of them. They only needed to hold on for a little longer and they would be able to kill that stinky girl. 15 minutes later, the talismans were still continuously thrown at them. An hour later, the 3 of them were already covered in wounds and were half dead. The 3 of them only had one thought in their minds. If they could hold on for a little longer, the stinky girl would definitely run out of talismans. Another quarter of an hour passed, and before the 3 of them died, only one thought flashed through their minds. How could the stinky girl have so many talismans? If they knew that she had so many talismans, they would not have shown themselves no matter what. Yun Chujio was afraid that the 3 of them would not die, so she continued to throw a few more super-grade explosive talismans. After she could not feel any spiritual power fluctuations, she stopped throwing them away. This guy was also seriously injured, but compared to the 3 of them, he was much better. Moreover, he had the help of Guai Chao to heal his injuries, so his life was not in danger. The dust and black smoke gradually dispersed, and in front of Yun Chujio was a huge pit. Yun Chujio took out the night pearl and shone it on them. The 3 of them were blown away, and they were definitely dead. Only then did Yun Chujio relax. She put away the storage rings of the 3 of them, and then sat on the ground to rest. Damn it! Fortunately, I drew some low-grade explosive talismans to confuse the enemy just in case. Otherwise, I would have to give up my life today. It was too dangerous. I was scared to death. Yun Chujio was mumbling when she heard someone shouting angrily, "Damn girl! You blew up my underground cave. I will not forgive you. I want to trap all of you here forever. None of you can think of getting out. I'm so angry. You've blown up all the beautiful stones that I worked so hard to make, damn it. Damn it. It's really too damn." Yun Chujio was shocked. Who's talking? Do you have a pig's head? Who are you talking to? Other than the tool spirit that can talk so arrogantly. Damn girl. You can just stay here and be trapped. Qi Ling. Yun Chujio carefully recalled what the Qi Ling said just now. Was it trying to take revenge on her because she had destroyed many of the rocks here? Was it planning to trap all of them here? Chapter 1283 Must reach the 10th floor. Yun Chuzhou pursed her lips. There was no one else who could be so childish as Qi Ling. However, it was true that the Qi Ling it had encountered were all more childish than the last. They rarely interacted with humans, so they naturally did not have so many tricks up their sleeves. Qi Ling, are you sure you want to do this? Humph. Of course. It has been tens of thousands of years, but no one has been so bold as to destroy my cave like this. So as a punishment, I will trap all of you here. I will make you feel guilty for the rest of your life. Ha ha ha. Speaking up to this point, Qi Ling was so angry that she wanted to bang her head against the wall. Where did such a pervert come from? She actually brought so many talismans. Was she going to sell talismans here? She actually blew up her cave into such a ghastly state. She had to pay the price. I'm sorry, you might not know me very well. I'm the most shameless person. As long as I'm fine on my own, I don't care what other people do. If you want to be trapped, then go ahead. I don't care. I have a lot of food in my storage ring. I can eat it for hundreds of years without any problem. When the time comes, I'll blow up the rocks and play with them. I'll blow up all the rocks in your place into powder. It's beautiful just thinking about it. Yun Chuzhou said as she threw an explosive talisman at a rock. The rock was instantly blown into pieces. Stop. Stupid girl. If you don't stop, do you believe that I'll immediately make those people on the lower floors die? I'll put the demon beasts on the lower floors into the first few floors and see how they live. Qi Ling shouted in exasperation. I say, do you not understand human language? Don't I tell you? Their lives have nothing to do with me. If you want to kill them, just kill them. What do you want to tell me? If you are capable, then put all the demonic beasts on my floor and bite me to death. Yun Chuzhou looked like a scoundrel, she thought to herself, who am I lying to? She even let out all the demonic beasts on the other floor. Everything was restricted by rules, and it was impossible for it to do so. The weapon spirit kept screaming, she gritted her teeth and said, stupid girl, I'm not that easy to fool. It's impossible for you to not care about the lives of those people. I'll give you a choice. If you can break through to the 10th floor, I'll let you out. Otherwise, I'll risk damaging the crypt to not let you out. Yun Chuzhou did not say anything. After a long while, Yun Chuzhou said, how long? Including today, you still have 14 days. Stupid girl, I wish you good luck. Qi Ling said proudly, the reason why it did this was to force Yun Chuzhou to enter the cave below. That way, the demonic beasts would have a chance to kill it and destroy its cave. She must die. Yun Chuzhou strangled the Qi Ling in her heart countless times. Damn it, just you wait. Don't let me find you, or I'll kill you. Yun Chuzhou did not doubt what the Qi Ling said. This abnormal Qi Ling would really trap everyone here. Damn it. Anyway, she still had many superior-grade explosive talismans in her storage ring. She did not believe that she would not be able to break through to the 10th floor. When the time came, she would take all the treasures inside. Yun Chuzhou was not in a hurry to go down to the 2nd floor. Instead, she used the cleaning spell to tidy herself up first. After eating some food, she counted the things in the 3 masked men's storage rings. She kept the defensive spirit tools and talismans that she could use properly, just in case she needed them. After 4 hours, Yun Chuzhou stood up and directly activated the concealment talisman. She rushed towards the entrance of the 2nd floor. Chapter 1284 The reason why Yun Chuzhou activated the concealment talisman was to save time and spirit energy. After all, the demon beasts on the 7th floor were all below level 25, so there was no way for her to see through the concealment talisman. If she had the convenience, why would she waste her energy? While Yun Chuzhou was running, she did a few good deeds out of kindness. Nangong Luoyue was being attacked by two level 21 cave wind blade leopards. Her left leg had been cut by the wind blade and she was running for her life, trying to find her classmates to ask for help. Suddenly, two loud noises came from behind. Nangong Luoyue turned around and saw that the two cave wind blade leopards had been blown into a bloody mess. They were only left with half of their lives. Although Nangong Luoyue did not know what was going on, she still rushed forward and took the lives of the two cave wind blade leopards. Lin Han felt that this was the first time he was so close to death. In order to dig out the netherworld stone, he had provoked 3 level 22 cave wind blade wolves. He had spent a lot of effort to kill one of them. Naturally, the other two would not let the matter rest. After forcing him into a corner, Lin Han could even see the sharp teeth of the cave wind blade wolves biting towards him. At this moment, there were two loud bangs. The two cave wind blade wolves were blown up and screamed miserably. Then, there were two explosions. The two cave wind blade wolves were directly blown to death. Lin Han rubbed his eyes and kneeled on the ground with a plop. Which senior saved me? Please accept my bow. Yun Chuzhou stumbled. This senior Lin was really honest. This guy's bad intentions came up again. He deliberately suppressed his voice and said, "Young man, cultivate well. You will definitely achieve great things in the future." After Yun Chuzhou finished speaking, she quickly continued to run forward. Lin Han was stunned on the spot. He felt his blood boiling. For a mighty figure to value him so much, this meant that he really could. As long as he worked hard, he would definitely be able to do it. Many years later, when Lin Han, who had already become the leader of a sect, lectured his disciples, he mentioned this matter many times. He did not know until he died that this was just a friendly joke from Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou had done the same thing several times. This guy felt that if he did not have to go to the next level, it would have been quite fun to help others in the dark. After that, she left and hid her identity. She was really an expert. This guy quickly went down to the 7th level and was immediately discovered by a 25th level cave fire tiger, Lai Yan. Seeing that Lai Yan had been discovered, Yun Chuzhou had no choice but to remove her concealment talisman. She said to the cave flame tiger, "I still have urgent matters to attend to. Get lost quickly, or else don't blame me for being impolite." The cave flame tiger glanced at Yun Chuzhou with disdain. What was wrong with this little human girl? How dare a weakling at the 5th level of the spirit sect speak to her like that? I'll eat you right now so you don't get cocky. Lai Yan spat out a few large fireballs at Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou dodged to the side and shot out a few purple needles at Lai Yan's eyes and other weak spots. Yun Chuzhou cursed as she attacked Lai Yan. If it weren't for the fact that she was a piglet, she wouldn't even need to use these purple needles anymore. Was there anyone as pathetic as her? She had to think of a way to end the battle quickly. There were countless demonic beasts on this level. If she were to fight them head-on, she would definitely tire herself to death. Yun Chuzhou thought for a moment and released the three-tailed fox king of Lai Yan. "Xiao Hong, come out and howl with all your might." Although the three-tailed fox king of Lai Yan was dissatisfied with Yun Chuzhou's adjective, what was she howling for? She was really uncultured. However, she still roared according to Yun Chuzhou's instructions. Chapter 1285 was a brilliant idea. With the roar of Lai Yan's three-tailed fox king, Lai Yan was slightly distracted. Yun Chuzhou took this opportunity to throw a stack of super-grade explosive talismans at Lai Yan. Lai Yan managed to dodge a few of them, but it was still hit by a few of the explosive talismans, causing continuous explosions. Yun Chuzhou did not check whether the cave fire tiger was dead or not. Instead, she put away the three-tailed fox king of Lai Yan and continued to run forward. She understood that the three-tailed fox king of Lai Yan's move could only be effective when used unexpectedly, therefore, she could not let anyone see Xiao Hong first. Yun Chuzhou discovered that the plants in the cave on the 7th floor were even more luxuriant. It even gave people the illusion that they were in a forest. Some of these plants were known to Yun Chuzhou, and some were not even seen in books. However, it was understandable. After all, there were fewer people who had made it to the 7th floor. Those with low spiritual power did not dare to come in, and those with high spiritual power would rather go to other places to train than come here. After all, other places were easier to escape from, but this lousy place had a time limit. Moreover, if they were not careful, they might be buried underground. Who would come? Just as Yun Chuzhou was indulging in her wild thoughts, 2 black-horned bulls of the cave on the 26th floor pounced on her. When they saw Yun Chuzhou, they were quite surprised. How did such a weak chicken come to the 7th floor? Were all the demon beasts on the first 6 floors dead? When Yun Chuzhou saw the 2 black-horned bulls, she burst into laughter. It seemed that the red cloth she asked and foamed to prepare was not in vain. Hey! We have no worries and no grudges. Let me go. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. The 2 black-horned bulls curled their lips in disdain. Let you go? We were planning to treat you as a snack. We are different from other demon bulls. We eat meat. The 2 black-horned bulls rushed towards Yun Chuzhou at the same time. Yun Chuzhou saw an open space in front of her and ran over with all her might. The 2 black-horned bulls chased closely behind. Yun Chuzhou took out a big red cloth with a smile and waved it at the 2 violent bulls. As expected, the 2 black-horned bulls in the cave were driven by instinct and rushed towards the red cloth in Yun Chuzhou's hand. Yun Chuzhou kept dodging their attacks and started to scatter the sleeping powder on the red cloth. The 2 black-horned bulls in the cave were blinded by anger. All they saw was the red cloth and they had to tear it apart. An hour later, the 2 black-horned bulls in the cave fell to the ground. Their huge bodies smashed 2 deep pits into the ground. Yun Chuzhou pursed her lips. No wonder it was called a bull's temper. This bull was really stubborn. However, this could not go on. There were many demonic beasts in the cave. Even if she was tired, she would die from exhaustion. She did not even have time to rest, let alone pass the 9th level. There was no need to think about the 10th level. Yun Chuzhou rubbed her chin and started to think. At this time, one of the black-horned bulls in the cave showed signs of waking up. Yun Chuzhou picked up the rolling pin and was about to slap the black-horned bull to death. Suddenly, an idea flashed through her mind. Ha! She was someone who had learned the beast-taming technique. Now that the 2 black-horned bulls in the cave were under her control, she could establish a spiritual connection with them and then use the beast-taming technique to control them. With the help of the 2 black-horned bulls in the cave, she could easily subdue the demon beasts and then control them, and then catch the demon beasts. Chapter 1286 scared the bull to death, didn't it? Yun Chuzhou felt that she was simply too smart. This method was simply too awesome. With the continuous increase in controlling demonic beasts, not only would I be able to smoothly enter the 8th level, she would also have enough time to rest. It was really great. When Yun Chuzhou thought of this, she saw that a black-horned bull was about to wake up. She immediately jumped over and took a thick stack of super-grade explosive talismans and said to it, "Old bull, they'll give you a choice, one to live and one to die. Which one do you choose?" The black-horned bull was so angry that it almost fainted. "You call this a choice? Only a beast with a mental illness would choose to die rather than to live. It seems that you've chosen to live. Then, immediately establish a spiritual connection with me and escort me to the entrance of the 8th level. I'll cancel the spiritual connection with you." Yun Chuzhou waved the talisman in her hand and continued, "Of course, you can also disagree. Then, I'll directly fry you into minced beef." The black-horned bull stared at her silently. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips and said, "You think this pile of talismans won't kill you? What about this sack? Yun Chujiu threw the sack of talismans on the ground. The black-horned bull was devastated. Oh God, where did this freak come from? How could there be so many talismans? Using a sack of talismans? Did it scare the bull to death? Although this little girl's spiritual power was not high, it was amazing to have these talismans. Although their skin was rough and their flesh was thick, they could not withstand such a perverted talisman attack. If you let me control you, I won't use you for nothing. After the deed is done, I will reward you with a few super useful hemostatic pills. How about it? Do you want to be fried into minced beef or cooperate with me? Yun Chujiu thought, if you use both soft and hard methods, I'm not afraid that you won't comply. Sure enough, the black-horned violent bull cowered. Although it was unwilling, it still established a spiritual sense connection with Yun Chujiu. After establishing a spiritual sense connection, Yun Chujiu used the beast-taming technique to establish a temporary contract with the black-horned violent bull. With the temporary contract, Yun Chujiu was not afraid of these deceived demon beasts turning against her. Therefore, yes, the beast-taming technique was still useful. At this time, the other black-horned violent bull also woke up. It looked at its companion standing by the side like a bullied little wife with a dumbfounded face. It just stood there foolishly and actually did not attack the little girl. Did it have mad cow disease? Big Nyo, tell Nyo what I mean, Yun Chujiu said lightly. Big Nyo, also known as the black-horned violent bull, simply wanted to die. What the hell was Big Nyo and Nyo? Such mighty and majestic demonic beasts were called Big Nyo and Nyo. The three little black birds in the spirit beast bag looked at each other. Compared to Xiao Hanyo and Nyo, their names were not bad, at least a little more high-end than theirs. The black-horned violent bull lying on the ground was completely dumbfounded. What and what? Big Nyo? Nyo? Was she talking about them? Just when it was at a loss, it heard the black-horned bull say, "Brother, let me tell you, it's like this." Nyo was stunned after hearing it. Then, he looked at the thick stack of talismans in Yun Chujiu's hand and looked at the sack full of talismans on the ground. This useless fellow immediately agreed to establish a spiritual connection with Yun Chujiu. Yun Chujiu was dumbfounded. Where was her temper? She agreed so easily. It really made people feel no sense of accomplishment. Chapter 1287. It was just a kitten. Yun Chujiu established a temporary contract with Nyo. After the two black-horned bulls recovered, she rode on the back of the bull and continued to walk forward. This guy was much more confident now. She was not fighting alone. She already had two powerful fighters. If any demon beast dared to provoke her, she would kill it. An hour later, a level 26 Berserk Fire Lion appeared in front of her. The Berserk Fire Lion had originally smelled the scent of humans and left its nest. However, when it saw the scene in front of it, it was a little confused. What did it mean? These two wild bulls were subdued by this little girl. Was she joking? This little girl was only at the 5th level of the spirit sect. How could she tame two wild bulls? Yun Chujiu sat on the back of the bull and pointed at the raging fire lion with her finger. Hey! You little cat! Quickly surrender and cooperate with me. Otherwise, I'll let Nyoda and Nyo destroy you. Yun Chujiu felt that this feeling was simply too great. No wonder teacher Qian said that if she learned the beast-taming technique well, it would be very awesome. Now, even if she learned it half-heartedly, it would still be very impressive. The raging fire lion had a dumbfounded expression. Are you blind or are you blind in the heart? I am a lion, not a cat. Moreover, what the hell is Nyo Dainiu? He couldn't be referring to these two brute bulls, right? The Berserk Fire Lion opened its big mouth and was happy. It was obvious that it was mocking the two black-horned brute bulls. The two black-horned brute bulls immediately became angry and wanted to start a war. Calm down. Calm down. It's just a kitten. I will talk to it first. Let's first be polite before we fight. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. The raging fire lion curled its lips in disdain. Although it was of the same level as the black-horned violent bull, its attack power was stronger and it was also more agile. It was really not afraid of the two black-horned violent bulls. As for that little girl, she was not worth mentioning at all. Little kitten, although you don't look weak, you don't have any chance of winning. At most, you can only fight to a draw with Big Bull and the others. But there's still me. Do you think I'm a weakling? TSK, actually, you're not wrong to think so. Although I'm a weakling, the talisman in my hand is not a weakling. If you don't believe me, I'll show you. After Yun Chuzhou finished speaking, she took out a supreme-grade explosive talisman and threw it at a big rock. After a loud sound, the big rock was blown into pieces. The furious fire lion was so shocked that it took a step back involuntarily. Then, it felt that it was a little embarrassing. Therefore, in order to save its face, it roared in disdain. Yun Chuzhou looked at it and said, "Little cat, do you think that a talisman like this is not powerful enough? What do you think of the sack?" Yun Chuzhou threw the sack of talisman on the ground. The furious fire lion rolled its eyes and wanted to kick the sack of talisman away. Yun Chuzhou said, "Even if you kick the sack of talismans away, I still have dozens of sacks in my storage ring." In order to verify her words, Yun Chuzhou threw out several sacks of super-grade explosive talismans in one go. Not only the raging fire lion, but even the two black-horned raging bulls felt that they had suffered a serious impact. Damn, were all humans so abnormal now? Had the talismans become so worthless? Weren't they all very precious in the past? Now they were all packed in gunny bags. Why did it feel like they weren't stuffed with talismans but broken ones? Most importantly, how many gunny bags did you say? Dozens? The raging fire lion suddenly understood why the two bulls had given in. Damn it, if they didn't give in, they would definitely be blown to pieces. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.